Just done this video. I didn't press record. Welcome along / welcome back to being blinded by the sun. Apologies if it's a bit windy. My dad has kindly lent me his Arai Tour X3, and the reason for that is I'm looking at a new lid, and I was looking at the Tour X4 and I thought that'd be really good, really quite like the look of them. And then you see all these reviews where people are saying the peak grabs your helmet when you're in high winds and all that sort of stuff. So my dad's kindly lent me this as a bit of a test before I go and drop 500, 600 odd quid on one. Obviously having that means that I've got to change all my setup and put all my stuff in it, so I have no idea whether the microphone's set up properly or anything. So I do apologise if it's a bit windy. As you might be able to see right down here, I'm 470 miles into my 600 mile running in period on this bike, and I thought I'd talk through the running in process in general. There are two main ways of running a bike in, or two main theories of running a bike in. Everyone's got their own ideas as to how it works, which method is better and all that sort of stuff, but I thought I'll talk through how I would do it. There's a few different reasons as to why you run a bike in, but the main reason being to seal the piston rings and sort of various other parts with the main engine and the drivetrain. The reason you do that is if you don't have a good seal on the piston rings, your compression's naff, you waste fuel, you burn fuel rather than actually like using it, should I say. Going on to the two main ways of doing it, you've got the hard run in and the soft run in. The soft run in is essentially nursing the bike for the first 600 miles. The hard run in, I don't know if you guys have watched Lamb Chop's rides video on this, but his explanation for it was you essentially let the bike warm up and then ride it like you've stolen it. Apparently they both work, and as I said in Lamb Chop's video, he referenced a channel in America that did both running in methods and then took the engines apart and sort of checked all the piston rings, checked all the seals and all that sort of stuff, and didn't seem any real difference between the two. Oh, I love how quick this thing is, just so easy. So I'm going to be running in this in, and I have been running this in with the soft break-in method or soft running in method. There's a couple of reasons for that which we'll sort of get onto in a minute, but the main one being I can't quite bring myself to believe that spanking the hell out of anything new is going to do it any good. And I don't really want to spank a brand new bike. I want to I want to get used to it and all that sort of stuff, and I want to learn how the bike handles before I start riding like a dick. If someone said to me, what are your 5 tips, almost foolproof tips on how to do a soft run-in on a bike, these would be them. So number one, and probably I'd argue would be the most important, is to not labour the engine. Now what I mean by that is, you know, when you're going up a hill and your bike starts chugging, just going too slow in general, and you're in like say you're doing 30 mile an hour in 6th gear and the bike's just lazily cruising around, and then you sort of pin it trying to pull away and the bike just really struggles. That is just not going to help the engine at all. I would try not to do that to a engine that's got miles on it, let alone one that's being run in. Point 2 is to go through the gears quite a lot. Going up and down the gearbox gets the gearbox used to moving up and down, gets the oil flowing, gets them sort of worn in. Obviously going up and down the gearbox means that there's also a smaller chance you're going to labour the engine, like I was saying in point 1. It's also not great to sit on the motorway, for example, at one speed and one particular set of revs. Why would you when you can do that? I don't know whether this is pointing really far down as well. I'm going to have to double check it. Point 3 is to not really spank the bike. Now what I mean, I don't mean to spank the bike. I mean spank the bike. You definitely don't want to redline it. You definitely don't want to give it like full beans or anything like that. I think, like, don't quote me on this because I know a lot of people kick off about it, but I believe that if you absolutely gun it, you glaze over the sort of piston rings and they don't seal properly. I think that's one of the bigger reasons for it. So a lot of new bikes actually won't let you rev past a certain RPM anyway. This sort of stops me about 7. so it won't actually physically let me rev past 7. Brooker's Street Triple RS, I don't even think that would let him rev past 5.5. And then the latter end of the running in period, it'll let you sort of creep up a little bit higher. Try and keep it roughly around half the whatever revs you've got on your speedo. The one thing that is really good about having such a torquey, powerful bike is even when you're running it in, you can just go so quick, and it's still a lot of fun. Look at the queue for Mackies. It's Thursday evening. No wonder our society's so fat. Really want a Mackies now. This thing wheelies everywhere. Just see you later then. So number 4 is to warm the bike up before you give it any. Now I'm not talking absolutely spanking it. Obviously, like I said before, some people say warm it up until it's sort of your oil temperature's right on your driveway or in the garage or whatever. But I think that then comes into the letting it sit at one particular revs for a certain amount of time, like I was mentioning before. So my personal way of doing it is, I mean, I do it most of the time anyway, but I start the bike when I've got all my gear on, and the only thing I've got left is my gloves. So it gives it, what, a minute or two while I'm putting my gloves on, and then once I've got my gloves on, I'll just start riding it, but I'll ride it gently. I've got an oil temperature sort of signal thing here that comes up saying oil temperature low, so I'll just wait until that's sort of gone off before I start opening it up. In general, just to sort of let the thing warm up, because you want all the oils to be moving around it, you want everything to be flowing properly like it should before you start opening it up, especially on a brand new engine. This bike is so planted in the corners, it's just like I feel like I could just absolutely rip it open there. Number 5, as you might have guessed, this one's a little bit like obvious. So after you've done the first 150, 200 miles, it's nowhere near as bad. For the first 150 miles, ride like you have just put on a brand new set of tyres. If you don't know how that feels, it feels like you're a bit on edge, you're riding on a tightrope, and also you have no idea how much grip you've got in the corners because the tyres have still got that silicone kind of coating on them. Now the reason I say that is, one, because you have, like if you've got a brand new bike, you've got brand new tyres, and also the brakes need bedding in. You need to ride it like it is a brand new machine, because I mean, like I said, it is, but also, yeah, you've got brand new tyres, you've got brand new brakes, you don't know the bike. I know there'll be people out there going, yeah, but I can ride anything. You're like, yeah, you can, but you don't know how this particular bike handles. What if your tyres aren't balanced and you sort of just assume they are? Like, there's so many variables that could really send you into a really bad state just because you haven't ridden the bike before and it's a brand new machine. Wait until it's run in, or at least done a couple of 100 miles before you start opening it up. With those 5 tips, you should be pretty golden. There shouldn't be any reason that you can't run your bike in and be confident that you've run it in properly. And I think that comes back to the hard running. If you've done a soft break in and you've ridden it sensibly, you've bedded everything in how it should be, and then something goes wrong, you'll be like, okay, maybe there's something wrong with the bike. If you have spanked the living daylights out of it and then something goes wrong, it's going to be that niggling feeling, like that niggling thought in the back of your head that just says, is that because I spanked the life out of it? Let's go back to Saint-Alban. I had a French ex-girlfriend and she always used to call this Saint-Alban. Obviously not like that, that's me over exaggerating. If you've stuck around this long and you're still watching this video, like, I mean, first of all, thank you. Appreciate you staying around for my boring natter. There will be videos coming up on this on my, I'll do my 1,000 mile, my 5,000 mile and all the usuals. Just a brief overview, this thing it's absolutely sublime. It is something else. And also, it's not just because I'm riding it like a hooligan. I went round to my gran's in Kent the other day just because, I mean, I haven't seen her for 2 years because of bloody COVID. It was around 75-80 miles each way. So I think by the time I got home, I'd done about 160-170 miles. And I still had 140 miles in the tank. Because of this little add-on here, I didn't put my visor down the entire time, going down the motorway and everything. It was calm as anything, proper little bubble of calm. And yeah, I got 56 mpg, 57 mpg. There you go, I'm still on that same tank now. I've been riding like a bit of a twat. And I've done 175 miles basically. And I've still got 80 miles in the tank. And that will go up if I stop riding like a tit. The seat was a little bit uncomfortable. Like, I got a little bit of a numb arse from sitting on the motorway. I'm just going to get one of the power part seats from KTM, I think. So far, like, this thing is just astonishing. Anyway, I'll shut up now. That's going to become my catchphrase, isn't it? Just, I'll shut up now. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you in the next video.